Hey everyone, Victor Hugo here, making my first YouTube video for my hopefully upcoming moto vlog. I'd like to give a shout out to my first and only subscriber so far, Razza 9000. How's it going, bud? Thanks for subscribing. What I'm looking at here is my 2013 Speed Triple 1050. Bought this brand new April of last year. Hope I'm doing okay with the cinematography. Not really used to this camera just yet. Bought this bike brand new April of last year. Hopefully going to be able to keep it. Just went through a divorce. Financially, we'll see where the fallout lands, but this bike is about as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. The Speed Triple 1050 has, of course, a triple cylinder 1050cc motor. Produces about 132, I believe, horsepower. Single-sided swing arm. Very nice look. The only thing I'd probably change would be the exhaust. We'll see if I can afford to do that. Bike is still relatively clean. I got about 3,800 miles on it as of the end of last year. Can't really ride right now, seeing as how it's 6 degrees below zero with a wind chill factor of about -15. It's February, so that means here in Wisconsin it's kind of bullshit weather. But it's something that we get used to. Someday I'll move. Let's get to the bike here. It's got Brembo brakes in the front. I don't believe that they're the monoblocks. This is not the R version of the Speed Triple. This is the standard version. For a rider like myself who just started riding naked bikes approximately a year ago, I wouldn't know the difference between the R model and the regular model. Wouldn't be able to tell the difference with the suspension and the other little bits and pieces. But I can tell you I do love this bike because it's simple. There are no electronic riding aids aside from the ABS. I do have the ABS on this bike, but that is it. There's no traction control. There's none of the other mapping, fuel mapping. It's you get on it, you twist the throttle, you go. That's one thing I love about this bike. The torque is unbelievable. The speed, again, is unbelievable. I only say this because my previous two bikes were Harley Davidsons. I learned how to ride on a Buell Blast in motorcycle safety school, and the next bike that I bought was a 1998 Softail Custom. It was my first bike. A lot of power, a lot of fun, sounded great. About a year later, I upgraded to an Ultra Classic, a 2003 Ultra Classic, and that was a fun bike, but I kept sliding the back end around. Apparently my riding style was a little too sporty for what I was riding. So a friend of mine decided that perhaps I ought to start looking at bikes that were more to my riding style. And while I didn't really like the hunched over version of many modern sport bikes, I thought the riding position was too aggressive for me. He decided to let me ride his Kawasaki Z1000, and wow, what a bike. So all that next winter, which was last winter, I did a lot of research on the internet, and I really had my eye on the Ducati Monster 1200. Really liked that bike. So I drove down in the spring to the Ducati dealership, and I took the Monster 1200 for a test drive. It was an awesome bike. The bad part is the seat tank junction right here was a little bit narrow. It kind of hurt my my man parts. So I was a little disappointed, but still giving it a lot of consideration. The next weekend, I went down to the Triumph dealership and test drove the Speed Triple 1050 they had, and I knew right then that was the bike for me. I couldn't have been happier with the way that it was set up, the comfort, the power, the response, the brakes. The whole thing was just a perfect package. So I went in the next weekend and bought one, and this is what it is. This is my bike. I couldn't be happier. Now let's just see if I can keep it, afford to keep it, and start doing a little bit more moto vlogging in the spring. I know that it might be a little while before I can get back on and actually get on the bike and ride it, but this thing is just a ton of fun. I would highly recommend this bike to anyone. It does need new tires, I will admit. The tires that came on this from the factory, you can see, or possibly you can see, they're a little bit squared off. I'm not really used to sport riding, so I'm not really getting down to the very edge of the tire just yet. I got a fairly large sized chicken strips on my tires, but hey, eventually I'll get a little bit further leaned over. My friend keeps telling me to trust the bike, and I do trust the bike. We've had a few close calls here and there, but the bike can handle a lot more than I can throw at it. I'll give it that. I guess if anyone has any comments or questions or anything, just go ahead and put in the comment section. Feel free to share the video with anyone, and we'll see you next time, YouTube.